In this short tutorial, you'll learn how to compile your code in NetLink Studio. First of all, let's discuss what it means to compile, or build your code. The process of compiling is necessary to transform the code you will create in the NetLink's programming language into binary machine code which can be run by the AMX NetLink's processors. Any errors must be corrected before the compiled code can be loaded into a processor. It is also strongly recommended that any warnings be resolved as well, although a warning will not stop your code from loading and executing. There are several options for compiling or building your code in NetLink Studio. You can build active system, build system, build workspace, build project, and build a specific source code file. Let's step through each one of these options. Here's our workspace. If your lab master source file is not open, double-click it and open it up. I highly encourage you to follow along because you are going to be compiling your code a lot throughout this course. The active system is the system you are currently working in and is highlighted in bold in your workspace. In this case, Biomed Lab System is the active system. To compile or build the code for this system, click Build on the menu bar and select Build Active System. Before we talk about the other methods of compiling, let's briefly examine the output bar. The first line indicates the NetLink's compile starting. Subsequent lines will indicate the source code location, the number of errors and/or warnings generated, how much memory the compiled code will require, and the number of token and variables present in the compiled code. If there are no warnings or errors, you are ready to load your code into the NetLink's processor. Since I have yet to write any code, the only thing that is being compiled is the NetLink's standard template, and of course I won't have any errors or warnings. Now let's see what happens when I deliberately place an error in the code. I'm going to write a bit of code in this Define Device section. Don't worry if this doesn't make sense at the moment. Defining devices will be covered in a future learning module. As it reads now, this statement is correct. However, if I remove the colon near the end of the statement, the syntax will be incorrect and will generate an error during the compile operation. Notice we now have an error listed indicating invalid syntax in the code. The error line shows the source code file with the error, the line of code with the errors indicated in parentheses, and the next line shows the error count. You can manually navigate to the error, or you can quickly move to the error by double-clicking the error line. Now that I have fixed the error, I will recompile the code to check my work. 0 errors and 0 warnings, just what we want to see. Now that you get the idea, make sure you delete that small line of code so it doesn't mess us up later on. Let's look at a few more compiling options. To build any system in the workspace, even if it is not the active system, simply highlight the system you wish to build and select Build XXX System from the Build menu, where XXX is the highlighted system, in this case, Biomed Study Hall System. Notice we get a pre-compiler error when we do this. It says, no master source code file is designated for the Biomed Study Hall system. Let's fix this. Select No. This error is occurring because we have not yet set this source code file as the master source code. Expand the system and source folders. Now, right-click on the source code and select Set as Master. Notice a capital M now appears in its icon. Remember, we can have multiple source code files in our system folder, but only one file can be associated or loaded to an individual system. Let's do the same thing for our main library project while we're here. Expand the folders and right-click on the library AV source file. Select Set as Master. Now that each system has a master source code file assigned, I'm going to minimize these folders once again. If you wish to build all of the systems within a given project, highlight the desired project and select Build YYY Project from the Build menu. In this example, Biomed Building is highlighted, and when Build Biomed Building is selected from the Build menu, the code for Biomed Lab System and Biomed Study Hall System both compile. To compile all of the code for the entire workspace, select Build Workspace from the Build menu. This will compile the code for all projects and systems within the workspace. In this case, this includes Biomed Building and Main Library. The last compile option is Compile on the Build menu. This may be used to compile an individual file within a system and is very useful when you are writing code and wish to do periodic checks for errors such as syntax that may have creeped into your code. This option will only work in the code currently being shown or worked on in the editor window. Also, you may wish to note that the standard hotkey for this function is F7, and that right-clicking inside the editor window will also present context-sensitive options for compiling the individual file or the active system. Another tool you may find useful is the Build toolbar. To use it, turn it on from the View menu and you will have all of the build functions available which we have discussed in this module. Finally, I want to discuss the various compiler preferences that are available. Go up to the Settings menu and select Preferences. The first item in this list is the Netlink's compiler. I want to focus your attention on the first three items in the list. First, we have Compile with Debug Info. We are going to be debugging our code in a much later tutorial, but for now we want to make sure this is checked. Next, we have the option to build with source. This option, if checked, will include the source code file into the compiled package that will get sent to the Netlink's controller. If this is selected, you will have the ability to extract the code out of a master. Then you also have the ability to password protect that source code with the third option. The decision to check or uncheck this feature is a business decision that only you can make. Do you want someone to be able to extract your code out of a Netlink's master or not? I'll leave this unchecked for now. Hit OK to keep your changes. Now that we know how to compile our code, next we'll learn how to get connected to our master processors and transfer the code.